What's up, family? It is your man, CRB Jr. here at Big Boss Filmworks, Motown Mafia podcast, here with my partner in crime in these matters, Brother Lou. How you feeling, baby?
Killing them, man. I can't complain.
It is a whole
It's
lot.
a lot going on, man.
It's a lot going on.
Woo.
It is good. So the channel continues to grow. We appreciate everyone's support. So before we even get into this, to talk about support, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. It continues to help us grow so that we can continue to...
And if you're watching this on Facebook, you want to do the follow.
Yes, please follow us on Facebook. That thing is growing over there too. And we're also on TikTok.
We are on TikTok. We're going to start doing TikTok lives real soon.
Okay, so we'll definitely check us out, obviously here on YouTube. Also, you can always, if you're in your car, you're driving, or you just like to, wherever you do listen to your other podcast at, we are on Spotify and Anchor. You can look us up under Motown Mafia Podcast. So that is also another way for you to always keep track of what we are doing.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Big time.
So I sent you over a clip that I came across because a friend of ours is doing some very interesting work.
Yeah.
And I am not going to burden the family with all of the YouTube politics.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Of different platforms. Everybody knows, you guys know that we work deep in conjunction with American Dope,
right?
And my man Al Prophet. So shout out to Al Prophet. Shout out to Scott Bernstein.
Shout out
to all the original crew.
Much respect
to them. But through Al, we met a good brother out of Harlem who has a great book, if you guys have not checked it out, called Raised by Wolves, and that is the brother Cavario. So shout out to brother Cavario. So as I'm doing what we're doing, and again, I do not, we at Big Boss do not get into the dramas of all the platforms and who shot John and why they shot him and why they don't talk and, any of the above. So anyway, I'm watching Vlad.
Yeah.
Because I do subscribe. The technology that won't escape us.
Yeah, that's right. I think that works.
We good on that now? Mm-hmm. Watching, clip comes up, I get a notification, Vlad, and I see Brother Cavario is interviewing a guy by the name of Peter Shu.
Peter Shu, right.
Now, if you guys are not familiar with Peter Shu, he was a big deal in New York in the 80s, and I think all the way going into the early 90s. I don't think he has a great book out too that's called Life of the Party.
Okay, yeah.
Because in his run in the underworld, he ended up actually becoming one of the premier party promoters in New York, and probably is just as famous for his parties and party promotions as he is for the bag that he moved. And he moved a really big bag. That's right. It's a great interview that Peter Shu did. In fact, I was saying the irony, another guy that always deserves a shout out, and that's the big homie Kevin Childs.
Big up.
So if you read the big homie Kevin Childs' book, The Crack Era, at the same time he was going through his case, Peter Shu was going through his legal situation.
Right.
Just like the brother Kevin Childs, Peter Shu had two hung juries. Kevin Childs had two hung juries. Peter Shu had two hung juries.
Okay.
Well, when the feds want you that bad, they keep coming. So in Kevin's case, feds said, we're still going to go back and try you again a third time. He had already been sitting down for like 3.5, approaching 4 years by the time the second hung jury leading to a mistrial happens. His lawyers drew a line in the sand and said, dude, you got to take the deal the feds are willing to give you. Even the judge had gotten sympathetic to Kevin's case again. And if you read The Crack Era, he really articulates and spreads out. But the long and the short of it was the feds were trying to get Kevin an 848 mandatory life with no possibility of parole. It's the kingpin status. It's what they tried to hit Pops and Eddie with way back in the day with an 848 charge.
Oh yeah.
They are willing to knock down the 848 for Kevin and just give him a straight 10 years on the narcotics conspiracy. So he's already done basically 4. They're talking giving him 10. With good time, you're looking at 8.5.
Oh.
He was 3.5 from walking out the door if he takes the deal. His attorneys tell him, if you don't take this deal, we got go find another lawyer, because nobody wants to be the guy whose client ends up with life with no possibility of parole when he could have been home 4 years later.
Right.
Kevin did the smart move, took the deal. Boom, it's obviously gone on with his life and all the success that he's had. So since getting out the joint, and just a stand-up hell of a guy. But Peter Shu took a different route.
Okay.
Peter Shu decided to roll the dice a third time. He ended up getting found guilty on that third trial, and it cost him about, I think, 23 to 25 years of his life. Damn. Yeah. So just a little irony. But so anyway, so again, check out the interview there that Cavario does with Peter Shu. But an interesting note in that interview was they brought up a topic that you've probably been privy to me and Eddie Baby having conversations about, Coke money versus dog food money.
But yeah, exactly.
You know, and me being and he usually, it's Eddie speaking in terms of the amount of money that Demetrius DH made selling Girl. And there's been obviously what those boys Meech and T did with their situation with the Girl, and numerous others. The big fella out of Detroit, the king of the game, guy by the name of Felix Walls.
Right.
I mean, guys who are getting it in by the metric ton. I'm talking about 1,000 at a time. But Peter Shu agreed with me. I don't care how much Yale you get.
It ain't.
You ain't gonna run up the bag like I'm gonna run up the bag when I got a good dog food play.
That puppy child, boy.
I don't care how you want to cut it. I don't care how many bricks of it. First of all, I can just say, like with Pop, even when we were doing that run with Mr. B out the Bahamas with that Yale,
yeah,
he'd flip a few wholesale, but handling a brick and making $2,000 off of the transaction, I never could wrap my head around it. And yeah, I know the math. Okay, yeah, but if you got 100 bricks and you make $2,000 off each one, that's $20,000. And if it's right, you might be able to do 10 a day. So that's $20,000 a day, right? But a good dog spot gonna do 30, 40, 50 a day, and your margin is 10 times that.
That's right.
And so anyway, Peter Shu was agreeing with me, and so he was talking about, because he used to do both. He was real with it. He said he only wholesaled the dog because one of the things why they called my father the professor was his ability to mix it. And Shu was saying he never could really get the right mix. And in that game, it's all about the mix. It's all about the mix. These boys here in Detroit with that mix jive, of course, got it down to a science. You know, if you listen to Roland, and you listen to, shout out and R.I.P. to Brett Goodwin. Another shout out to Mr. Cooper, the big homie here in the D. Shout out to Pep. They'll talk about them boys with that mixed jive was putting an 80 on it. That means you take 1 ounce and turn it into 80 ounces.
80 ounces.
Right? The Fat Man was taking 1 key, turning it into 20 keys, and then wholesaling it where somebody else was putting a 30 or 40 on it. So let me go through that again. Fat Man then took 1 brick that he getting from them Italians at 99% pure from Carmine Labandozzi of the Gambino crime family. He's taking 1 key. When after Pops and 5-0 and Rudolph and Black Butch and the rest of the crew get done with it, they're going to get that to the mixing table. They're going to take that 1 brick, a boy, and turn it into 20. They then can wholesale that just like it's pure, even though they have multiplied it by 20 times. And the person that they sell it to after they put a 20, they gonna put a 30 on it.
Yeah.
And retail it.
Yeah.
And it's still gonna be better than anything on the street. Now I just don't know how when the best yay in the world, if you got a sniff clientele, you might can put a 3 on it, and your consumer don't revolt on you.
Right.
That's best case scenario. But it's a big difference between 3 and 20.
Huge.
And a bigger difference between 3 and 80. Yeah. So I'm messing with my man. So Eddie, baby, listen to Peter Shu and me and whatever with your dad. And so, but what the moral of the story went that really I wanted to flesh out about what guys with that dog connection, what they really think about the yayo business.
Yeah.
Eddie's father in 5-0 get caught in 1972 with 8 keys of dog food,
Right.
3 keys of yayo. The 3 keys of yayo was for personal consumption.
That was party favors.
Pops and Eddie and them never sold coke.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even see it as a business. That was something for Eddie and his Hollywood Motown friends to do.
Mm-hmm.
So when you read the newspaper articles about him caught with 3 keys of coke, that was for him to give away to all of his celebrity friends and to sit around and party with the fellas.
Right.
That's what they thought about a brick of yay. Now these clowns today swear that that's their whole ambition.
That's the pinnacle.
And I'm not saying there is, Lord knows, obviously. I mean, if Pablo Escobar and the profits of the Medellin cartel would make it foolish to say there's no money in it.
Right.
But you damn near gotta be Escobar to get that kind of money in the yayo business. When brothers like Eddie Jackson, Nicky Barnes, Guy Fisher, Frank Matthews, again, Frank Matthews, when they raided his place, he had enough envelopes to make $20 million retail. There are numerous. You can talk to whether it's Kevin Childs, Cavario, Peter Shu. You talk to anybody who knows about Harlem in its glory days. If you listen to the Freddie Meyer story, there is nothing for a block in New York back in the day to do $200,000 a day in dog food.
Yeah.
Right now, in our time, Eddie was doing $50,000 a day, sometimes on a good day on French Road. And I can do the comparison. When he had his bag from Demetrius with that yay, and he's making nickels or dimes the size of golf balls, he might do 15. About 15 a day. But with that dog food from Pops and that Pakistani thing, oh no. 15 would have been a disappointment. But yeah, awesome interview. And again, shout out, congrats to Cavario over there.
Big up, man.
Yeah, he's interviewing in a way that only people from the inside who have lived it can interview.
Right.
So it's a really good look. Peter Shu is a fascinating character. There's a lot of great stories out there. His is assuredly one of them. So yeah, shout out to Cavario and shout out to Peter Shu. And we ain't gonna hate, we congratulate. You guys should check that out if you like this kind of genre. Make sure you check out that Peter Shu interview with Cavario.
There you go.
Yeah. And speaking of, we continued, I'm rewatching again, Blowing Money Fast.
Oh yeah, Blowing Money Fast, man.
That is the documentary of BMF, how Meech and T, speaking of masters of that yay game. And again, I don't want anyone to take it that I'm saying the guys who do that are not hell of a hustlers or hell of a entrepreneurs. I'm just speaking about the real math of the business model. It's something that you can dilute 50, 100 times and still have its initial value. You just can't compare that business to no other business.
Nah.